Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Sacks in the Morning. I'm your host Caleb, and I made a video a couple of days ago about Ekitike to Newcastle. There was just links, nothing really concrete. Now it's concrete. Started today in the afternoon when Fabrizio Romano said keep an eye on Ekitike to Newcastle United, and a few hours later, bang, Fabrizio breaks the news Newcastle United with a bid in excess of 70 million euros for Hugo Ekitike. He has a release clause of £86 million, which are 100 million euros. Newcastle's bid was apparently, according to Craig Hope of the Daily Mail, it was £65 million, which are around 74 million euros, I believe. So therefore, Newcastle are bidding 65 and Frankfurt want 86. So there's 20 million apart. However, there is sort of a willingness from Newcastle United to get this deal done. They obviously lost Callum Wilson. Obviously, they decided to let him go. He didn't score in the league last season, and they needed somebody who can sort of step up when Isak's out. The key thing with this deal is that no, Isak is not going to leave. I know Liverpool fans will be saying that. David Ornstein has said, he literally edited his tweet to say that Newcastle United are looking to play Isak alongside Hugo Ekitike. If I'm going to give my opinion on this, it is probably Newcastle United looking in preparation for next summer. Ekitike comes in this summer, learns of Isak, works alongside him, gets 1 year of experience in the Premier League. Next summer, Isak, if he's got 2 years left, he doesn't sign a new contract, then he goes. In that case, Ekitike is able to step up, be the main man, and there shouldn't be that much of a drop-off. That's probably what Newcastle United are going for. However, for this season, you have Isak, you have Ekitike, you have Gordon, you have Barnes, you have Elanga, you have Murphy. 6 proper good options that Newcastle United have. They struggled with depth in the Champions League 2 years ago. They struggled with depth last season in the Premier League. They're going to have a lot of depth. They need to add a centre back in. They've been talks of Scalvini. They have Scalvini, Botman, Burnshaw. Wow, I mean, there's plenty of depth in that Newcastle United team all of a sudden. So let's talk about this deal specifically. So Frankfurt, obviously, he scored 22 goals this season at Frankfurt in all competitions, 15 in the Bundesliga. There may be a doubt whether he's able to replicate this sort of form in the Premier League. 2 things I'll say about that. 1, Isak scored 6 goals in his final season before he came to Real Sociedad. 2, Isak and Elanga. Isak and Ekitike are very similar players in terms of the way they move, in terms of the way they dribble. They're both tall players. I think Ekitike 6'3", Isak 6'4". So the way they run is a similar sort of style as well, given how tall they are. I think that there is a sort of willingness of Newcastle United to play 2 up front this season. You do not spend over 70 million euros. They're going to break their transfer record to stick someone to play on the bench. According to The Athletic, Chris Worth, Anthony Gordon is also considered unsellable. Newcastle aren't actively looking to sell him. I'm sorry, not unsellable. Newcastle aren't actively looking to sell Anthony Gordon. I thought that if Ekitike came in, it could potentially be Gordon is the one that leaves. That's how I thought it would be, and Ekitike starts on the left. But apparently Newcastle United want to keep him as well. They're just going for absolutely just keep everybody. They're sort of building a sort of squad now similar to Chelsea. Don't get me wrong, the midfield isn't nowhere near in terms of the level of Chelsea's, but the attack definitely is. In fact, some may even say even better. So you're bringing Ekitike in. While Newcastle are going to play 4-4-2, if they're going to play 4-4-2, it's Tonali and Bruno in the middle, then Elanga and Gordon either side, then Isak and Ekitike. Probably a 4-4-1-1, which is basically a 4-3-3, maybe Ekitike coming into the 10. Maybe in the bigger games they play the 4-3-3 or the 3-4-2-1. If they go the 3-4-2-1, let's say they sign Scalvini for argument's sake, Scalvini, Botman, Burn, and then they have, for example, maybe Elanga right wing back, they have maybe Livramento left wing back, Bruno, Tonali, Ekitike can play closer to Isak, and they have maybe Gordon there. I mean, I'm not even including Joelinton in this team, so maybe 4-3-3 against the bigger teams. You see how Newcastle sort of like to do that. Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton, Ekitike, Isak, Gordon, or Ekitike, Isak, Elanga. There's no mention of Harvey Barnes in that team. He scored, I think he was Newcastle United's top goal scoring winger. He got 9 goals, I believe, last season. Murphy was Newcastle's bar Isak highest GA. I think he got 8 goals, 12 assists. He got 20 in all the competitions. I haven't mentioned him at all. So the squad that Newcastle United are going to have if they get this deal done, it's going to be incredible. There is apparently Newcastle United wanting to get this done ASAP because there's interest from Liverpool. There is also interest from Chelsea. There's interest from Manchester United. With the Elanga deal, none of these clubs were sort of interested in it or had major interest or anything like that. We've seen with João Pedro, he obviously picked Chelsea. We've seen him with Bemba, he picked Manchester United. We've seen with the Lap, he picked Chelsea, but I don't know if he regrets that now. We've seen with Cunha, he picked Manchester United. We've seen with Hoyson, he picked Real Madrid. So when there's other clubs interested, Newcastle United do tend to lose out. However, if Newcastle, so therefore Newcastle need to act quickly if they're to get this done. If they do get this done, I think it's an incredible signing. PSR wise, if Newcastle are able to spread this over 5 years, let's say it costs, for example, I think Newcastle will probably be, I think maybe £70 million what Newcastle will probably pay. Something sort of like 80 million euros. Frankfurt, they're going to stall, they're going to wait. No one's going to pay more than 80 million euros, in my opinion. Marmush literally went for 80 million euros. I don't think Ekitike is going to go for more than that. And for anyone saying that Ekitike cannot play with Isak, Ekitike played with Marmush, therefore I think this can work. Ekitike can play across the front three. I think it's a brilliant signing. Newcastle have tracked him for about 3 years, so therefore they clearly know what they're getting with him. They clearly want him. He's not just like, he's clearly intensively scouted. I think it's a brilliant signing. Get him in, get Scalvini in. So let's say they get Ekitike in, for my opinion, £70 million. Okay, let's say £75 million for argument's sake. That'll probably be a bad one. So 75 million, you then add the 55 for Elanga, that's 130, then you add the 40 million, I think it's 43 for Scalvini. So let's say add 43 for Scalvini, that is 170. Newcastle United pretty much spend their entire budget. I don't think with January, so they probably will have to have some sales. There's a reluctance to sell Longstaff according because of the sort of transfer Champions League squad. If he was to go, Newcastle's squad size will get restricted to 21 players. So maybe someone like a Joe Willock could be the one that makes way. I can see that happening. Newcastle probably get around 20 million for him. Other players, French players, Vakadimos, Target, players like that can definitely go. But yeah, let's see what happens. I think that people were criticising the Langer deal. I think it makes sense. He's an Eddie Howe type of player. I don't know if Ekitike is an Eddie Howe type of player because I can't say that I've watched him week in, week out. I don't know how well he keeps himself. I don't know how well if he's going to be pressing the way that Gordon was pressing 2 seasons ago, or the way Langer was presses. I think Newcastle United, they get this one done, they get Scalvini done. People saying the top 4 is untouchable. I don't think the top 4 is untouchable. If Newcastle get those 2 in, it'll be a major coup. I don't think the goalkeeper's a priority. Keith Downey of Sky Sports was saying Newcastle could go up £75 million potentially, so we'll see what happens. But this could be the marquee signing that Newcastle United fans have been waiting for. They haven't made a marquee signing for about 4 windows, which was Tonali. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.